Happy day, happy day. We're never starting the podcast like that again. Anyways, what's up, everybody?
Welcome back.
Thank you all for tuning in. As we always do, a couple housekeeping things. If you guys could please subscribe to the podcast, we greatly appreciate that. And if you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, we greatly appreciate that. And of course, please keep submitting your stories. We are always in need of more stories. You guys have submitted some recent ones that we're excited to share. And we also added a questions segment for you guys. We want to be a little more interactive, have you guys kind of asking us questions, and we'll answer them as best we can. We already got some in, so we're excited to when we decide to read those stories. We'll do the questions toward the end of the stories. Other than that, this episode is brought to you by The Stage, which is EDM's central hub for all types of EDM content, including this podcast. You can get the podcast on there. So, all right, without further ado, Ade went away last weekend to her first ever Red Rocks. Woo!
The crowd goes wild.
Which is an iconic amphitheater, for those of you who don't know, in the Colorado Rockies, just outside of Denver. And that is the last history lesson we ever have. And let's go. Let's see what we're going to talk about. I personally have never been. So I
you haven't?
No, I haven't even gone to visit, which is sad. I went to Denver to visit a friend back in like 2017, 18. And we had that like on our itinerary to go do. And we were just kind of like young and lazy. And we just slept in one day instead and didn't end up going to Red Rocks. So that happened. And then I've been back, but just not to Denver. I went up to like Fort Collins. I've been to Colorado.
Gotcha.
I've been to Colorado Springs, but just not to the Red Rocks area. So unfortunate, but I want to hear about it. Let's hear the story. I'll let you go. Take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So I went to my first Red Rocks, as Bab said. I don't know why I was about to call you Jacob.
Yeah.
As Jacob said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had bought these tickets back at the beginning of 2020. So I've had these tickets for a while. It was the Louis the Child Euphoria tour, which I was really excited about. Fun fact, it was my 12th time seeing Louis the Child, which I feel like would be surprising to a lot of people since I'm such like a househead now. But I saw Louis the Child for the first time in like 2016. And so that was like when I was first getting into like going to raves, going to festivals. So they've always had a soft spot in my heart. And so when they got announced, I have a friend that lives in Denver, Colorado. My friend Brandon, he's like probably my longest friend because we met freshman year of college and he was like my next door neighbor. And so he never got into the rave or festival scene or anything like that. But he told me that when we graduated that he would go to a rave or a festival with me. And while we haven't been able to do that yet, Red Rocks was like the next best thing, even though I don't consider it a rave. It's not a rave. But it was like an EDM artist at Red Rocks. So like we kind of settled on that 4 years later. And so we bought our tickets. And then obviously COVID happened, the Panini happened, and I had held on to those tickets for a whole year. And so they got announced for August 26th. Bowser is dying over my Panini comment.
I've never heard that one before.
You've never heard of it? Everyone on TikTok calls it the Panini.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gotta get on TikTok.
You gotta get on it. We're working on it. So it was on a Thursday. So I went on last Thursday, August 26th. I flew in Wednesday night just because I wanted to have like some time to get settled in. And like, I also potentially had to work on Thursday just a little bit. So I wanted it to be like easy and simple, whatever. So got in Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the show started at like 6:30, I want to say. And so going into it, I always heard about how like there's this huge hike that you have to do. I don't know if you've heard about that, Babs, where like there's a huge walk up to the actual venue. So that was something that we were kind of like, oh, well, like let's get there early just so we like can either don't have to deal with it, whatever. And for those that might be wondering like how you get to Red Rocks, my friend was able to drive because we were staying sober, which was kind of sucky, but I had to stay sober because I'm working with a nutritionist, and she put me on no alcohol for the next 4 weeks. So this was like week 3 of that. So I'm on week 4 of it right now as we're recording.
Just in time.
Yeah. And so whatchamacallit. So he drove us out to Red Rocks, but you can do like there's shuttles, or people do party buses, or people also take Ubers. The Uber pricing can range, so it really just depends, is what my friend told me. Like if you go early, you might not have to pay as much, and if you leave early, you might not have to pay as much on the way home. But if you stay the full time, you might be looking at like a really expensive trip back. So it just depends. I don't really know. So we get there for doors, and then we are put in the top parking lot. And so this hike that everyone was telling me about that I had to do, I was like, oh my God, this is nothing. Cause we literally just went up some stairs, and then they checked our they checked for COVID test or negative vaccine or whatever, that whole thing. I'm so bad at saying that now because it's not something I'm used to. A COVID check, like what do you call it? Like COVID screen.
Yeah. COVID screen. Yeah.
So they did all that. They checked like our bags, all that stuff, security. And it was just that simple little like stairs. I'm like, is that what everyone's talking about? Like that was nothing. And my friend was like, no, we got put at the top lot. So there's 2 different lots that you can get put in or like get dropped off at. So we were dropped off. We were parked at the top lot, which means that our little hike was just some stairs. But if you are at the bottom lot, the south lot, that's where a lot of ride shares drop off. Or if the top lot fills up, then you get put at the bottom, and then you have that super high hike up there, which I don't know how bad it is, but people said it's pretty intense. So we bypassed all of that. So I was kind of like, okay, like not too bad. Like I'm happy with that. Got in, and it's just like beautiful. Like I wish we could put photos into the podcast. We probably could, but it's just like even when you see it in people's photos, like it's bigger than what you see in the photos. Like it's just so much more bigger, and the mountains are huge. And then just walking up to the actual amphitheater, and like you can see the stage because it like caves down and like funnels down basically. So you can see the stage, but then you can see all of Denver. There's like this huge opening, which I was surprised by. I didn't know that you could actually like see Denver from that view. Like I didn't know where it was positioned at. So it was really pretty, and I was just like, I just could not get over the view, and was just like taking it in, and like I feel like the whole time I was just like looking around and like
wide-eyed
little
baby.
Yeah. And then also like once the sun went down, like you could see the stars and stuff, so I was just like head up, like looking up, just like looking around and all this stuff. It was super cool with that view. So we got there 5:30. We had to walk all the way down to the bottom though. So like we did kind of have a hike back up because that's where merch was. And I was like, oh, I want to go get merch. So we had to hike all the way down, which definitely got my steps in. Going down wasn't bad. And then going back up, like I definitely was like, oh, okay. Like definitely like panting. And like my friend Brandon just kept on talking to me, and I'm like, I literally can't talk. Like I was like working up the sweat,
I remember that from my hikes, like just not from a elevated state. You're just like,
yeah.
They're like, so like you want to like just keep going? You want to stop? You're like, I just want to stop. Like,
yeah. Yeah, the altitude didn't affect me too much except for moments like that, like having to go up these steps and everything. I went to merch. I got a poster that was like a Red Rocks poster. I realized it's in my car. It's not here, but it was basically like Lewis the Child, Red Rocks, and then the dates, and then it was signed by them. So that was really cool. Little memento. I need to get that framed. And I ran into a subscriber, which was kind of awkward. I felt so bad. I was so frazzled because I was like getting out of merch. Like I'm carrying a t-shirt, carrying this poster. I have my phone in my hand. My mom's like texting me about like National Dog Day. Like there's just all these things going on. And she comes up to me, she's like, Ade, like Vibe Tribe. And I was like, oh hi, like nice to meet you. And then like Brandon, my friend, was asking me questions, and like I was just super frazzled. And I was just like, I couldn't give her the attention that I wanted to give her. And I ended up messaging her and I was like, I'm so sorry. You just caught me like in the middle of a bunch of things going on. Like I also had to go to the bathroom. Like it was just, I'm also not used to people coming up to me again, you know, and after a whole year of not going to events and stuff. So that's something that's going to take some getting used to, I feel like. And even at UBW, I feel like in Seismic, when I was getting like,
no one came up to you then.
people came up to me then, but even then I was still frazzled.
People came up to me, so like, no. I was a quick tidbit. I still laugh that like when you came up to like when we met up and you like tapped me on the back and I was like, oh God, and you're like, what? And I was like, oh, it's you. Okay, thank goodness. Because I thought because that girl before you like didn't tap on my shoulder. She just started shaking her ass. And like I was sitting on the bench, as you know, like sitting on the bench, like, eating food. And then next thing I know, like someone's just booty bumping me into like the table. And I'm like, oh, she's back. And you're like, hi. I was like, oh, thank God, it's you. It's Tyler. Nothing against
that was so
expressing yourself and
funny.
dancing, but when I'm eating my food, I don't want to be fucking bummed.
Yeah. Right?
But no, I
That's so funny. But yeah, so I was a little frazzled by that, but she understood. And so the thing with Red Rocks that I realize is like, especially as I'm getting older, like as we were walking back up to figure out where we wanted to stand, for Lewis the Child, it kind of attracted a very Brads and Chads kind of feel. You know what I mean? So there was like people in jerseys and all that kind of whole deal. And then there was like really young, they looked really young. Some looked like they're in college, some looked like they were in high school, some looked like they were already drunk, and it wasn't even like the show hadn't even started yet. And I'm like, oh boy, you guys got a long way to go. And so I wanted to be kind of like in the middle, because that way you had a good view of the stage, but then you still get the whole like landscape behind it too. And also because of how many young kids were down at the bottom, I was just like, that's just too much energy for my soberness right now. So I was like, let's just park it in the middle, and like hopefully that'll be a good spot to be at. You know what I mean?
I do.
Okay.
I know you're right. I was not ready for you to ask me a question.
I know. I was just checking in, Beth.
I was listening, but I was just like intently.
Yeah.
I promise.
Okay.
I just was. Yeah, you caught me right off guard.
I know.
I know what you said. You said in the middle because you didn't want to be up front
Yeah.
with the people that were crazy and already kind of drunk.
Yeah.
Brads and
So we
Chads.
parked it there.
I was listening. I promise.
Yeah. One thing that surprised me was that they actually have food at Red Rocks. I don't know why. I just like never thought that they had food.
Churro? Quesadilla action? Churro action? What we got?
So they had barbecue. Then they had curly fries that you could get like your face. They had curly fries that you could get like buffalo curly fries or like loaded curly fries, like that kind of stuff. They had pizza. And they had something else, but I can't remember. Someone told me that they had smoothies, but I could not find a smoothie, which I was like, that'd be really refreshing if I could find one.
That's the best pre-show meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I swear. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I landed on the curly fries with buffalo sauce because something tragic that has happened. I think I found out that I need to be gluten-free, which like throws out almost all festival food. Yeah, it's a theory I've been testing. I have eczema. I have eczema on my hand, which is like I've had it my whole life. And I also get eczema like here. It's basically just like dry skin that causes me to like scratch it, and I get like a rash. And I used to always think that it was caused by like sweat or stress. And then I cut out dairy too, and that kind of helped it. And then recently I haven't been eating gluten, and it's like non-existent. And then after Red Rocks, I did have a piece of pizza and it came back. So I'm like I guess I have to be gluten-free, which kind of sucks. But anyways, the fries were bomb. Curly fries were bomb. Definitely get those if you go. And then Lewis the Child came on. They played a playground set. So they did like an opening set, a 30-minute set that was just like them having fun. They didn't play their own stuff. They just played like whatever they wanted to play. The person that was supposed to open for them was Goth Babe. Have you heard of that artist? I haven't.
I have not, no.
Okay. I don't know who that it was supposed to be, but apparently they couldn't make it. So they ended up opening for themselves basically, which was kind of funny because they were like, oh, like, thank you to Lewis the Child for like letting us open for you, even though it was them. So it was kind of a funny thing.
They really played the act. They really sold
yeah.
it.
Yeah. They're like, they're those kind guys, just like let us open for them, like that kind of thing.
That's dope. Those
So
Lewis Child sets, technically.
yeah, two Lewis the
big
Child sets. So that was cool. And then Elderbrook was after them, which was he's more of like a chill house artist. It's more like, yeah, I guess melodic kind of house, like he does his own like vocals. He had like his own drum set, his own little piano. So had his whole like setup, which was really cool. Very chill in comparison to the rest of the artists. So it was kind of like just a nice little relaxing set in between everything. And he's a really good artist. I've been wanting to see him for a while. And then the sun was starting to set too while his set was going on. So that was really cool just to start to see like the sunset. And then What's So Not came on after him. And have you listened to What's So Not or seen What's So Not?
I know of the artist, but I can't.
Okay.
The time I've actually seen. I actually not even sure if it's a guy or a girl. I believe
it's a guy.
That's what I thought, but in my head I was like, watch me say it, and then you'd be like, yeah, it's actually not that. And I was like, okay. I just took. Yeah, no, I definitely haven't seen him because him. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I really like him. He's more of like future based trap in a way. Like it's like a combo of the two, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Almost like a Slander and Nightmare type of deal.
Yeah,
Older
but
Nightmare.
like also like a Flume mixture in there too. I'll have to send you his stuff.
That's true. Okay.
So I actually saw him at my first EDM event that I ever went to, like my first rave. So Mad Decent Block Party 2015. He was there, and he was actually one of the only sets that I actually got to see because I had to take care of someone the whole time. So I always remember his set, and this was actually his first time playing in the States in 2 years because he's from Australia. So he was like really excited, super pumped up. The only thing, he did talk a lot on the mic, and I was just like, please stop talking on the mic.
He was just really excited to be back.
Yeah, I know. I gave him that little bit. I was like, he's just excited to be back. Like he's just trying to pump up the crowd. But like, I always love his music. So his set was really good. And while his set was going on, in the forecast, it said it was going to rain at Red Rocks, and it didn't the whole night, but it rained everywhere else. So like while we were sitting in the crowd, you could just see lightning strikes like all around, which was kind of cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was like its own production, just like a lightning strike behind it as like What's So Not was going on. So that was really cool. He had like an hour set. I think Elderbrook had like an hour set. And then there was like a little bit of a gap after What's So Not, and then they were prepping for like Lewis the Child. And have you seen like on the rocks how they put like an artist logo?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen photos of that?
Photos, yeah, but yes.
Yeah. So I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, I wonder like what they're gonna do, or like I wonder where they are. So I kept on like looking around, like just waiting for it to happen. And then finally, during that like interim period before Lewis the Child, I like look up and they had like the little crown on the left side, and then they had like the Lewis the Child logo on the right side. So that was super cool and cute to finally see.
They do was their stage the crown again?
Yeah, so they had the crown, and then their whole setup was so cool. I don't know how to describe it really, but like if you were closer, you could probably feel like you were in like almost a box or like a room with them. Like it was just like a multi-dimensional thing, but then the visuals were like all around them. So like they had a visual behind them, and then they had a visual like basically coming around them in the crown. So I really liked their visuals. And one thing that I thought was cool was like they didn't give away all their production kind of things right away. So like after like 15 minutes, maybe they throw in some lasers, or like another 15 minutes go by, they add another layer to production. So like they didn't give away all their like little secrets or like what they had planned until they had like a special drop or like something like that. So overall was a really good set. I really enjoyed it. The only thing, I had to go to the bathroom so many times because I kept on drinking water because of the altitude. I was just afraid of like getting a headache or something. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you either have to go all the way back down or all the way back up. And since we were in the middle, I had to I just kept on going all the way back up. But not too bad. And I'm trying to think what else. And the crowd. So, you know how I said we were like placed in the middle. So we thought that was going to be a good spot until this big group just came and they just kept on like taking up a lot of space basically. And throughout the night,
yeah, elbows back and
yeah.
I've never done that.
And the steps are pretty wide that you stand on, but I was standing kind of closer to the back, I guess, of my step or whatever. And there was people like in their group behind us and like next to us and like in front of us. And they just kept on like moving around the whole time. So like at some point someone would stand right in front of me and then I would just have to like move to the right. Meanwhile, they're all getting progressively more and more drunk, which was kind of funny to watch. Like me and my friend were like people watching them kind of because like there was like interesting dynamics happening between like two guys like that didn't seem like that they were together, but like as they like got drunk and drunker, like one guy was like coming on to another guy and we're like, wait, we thought that you guys weren't together. Like it was this funny thing like that. And then one girl got mad at her boyfriend, so like we were watching that go down. and then there was another guy, he like this other guy just like disappeared out of their group for like most of Louis the Child's set. And then all of a sudden, like this guy taps my shoulder and he's like your typical, like looks like he's from Colorado. He has like a dad hat. He has like a full on beard. He has his Camelback, like probably was wearing like Birkenstocks or something like that, or Tevas or something. And he was like, hey, is this your friend? And I'm like, no, he's not my friend. I was like, I think he's in this group. And my friend Brandon was like, yeah, he's in this group. And this guy cannot stand straight for the life of him. And this guy that found him is like his rave dad, basically, like just came to help him out, get him back to his friend group. And then and then that guy ends up hanging out with like that group and he tells him like, oh, is this your friend? Like he's pretty drunk. And they're like, oh yeah, like he does that, like that kind of thing. Meanwhile, his girlfriend's like half his height and like trying to hold him up. And then at some point she ends up just like sitting down with him and he's like falling asleep on her. So that was just, it was kind of funny to just watch that all go down. We ended up just moving up a step just to kind of get out of their space. And like, as the night went on, I feel like it just spaced out a little bit more between everyone. But that was the only funny thing that happened, was just watching this group get more and more drunk. And that's what I've heard is like with Red Rocks, no matter how much you think you can drink, the altitude will just like mess you up. So with whenever you go, maybe just like not drink your full amount and just see how that goes. And then let it play out.
Yeah, when I went to Colorado the one time when I went out with my friends, I couldn't, there's no way in hell I could keep up with them. There's just no
oh my
way.
Gosh. Yeah.
There's no way. So
when I went to Denver for the when I went to Denver for the first time, that was for my friend Brandon's birthday, and I was drunk, blacked out the whole weekend because I thought I could drink like I was at ASU. Like it was so bad. The last night we went out and then we went straight to the airport, and I did not remember that whole airport experience. So when I was flying in on Wednesday, I was like, I don't even remember what this airport looks like. And then as I was slowly getting to baggage claim, I was like, oh my God, it's all coming back to me. So yeah, that altitude can mess you guys up.
Blackout going through security. That's just so funny.
Yeah, it was rough, but
you have like a bottle in your bag. They're like, you can't take that, man. You're like, wait, what? Can't take what? Like, what are you talking about? You cannot take the bottle.
Right. So this trip was a little bit more wholesome, not doing stuff like that. Like a little bit more wholesome, not going out or drinking, but Red Rocks was fun. I had a good time. I can't wait to go back and just see it again and maybe see a different artist or a different type of artist and just see what it's like. Like I would love to go to Dead Rocks and see like Zed's Dead next year or something.
A great artist to see it there live. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list.
Seven Lions for me, just because I mean I'm already a big fan, but just the fact that like a lot of his older album covers are like the chronicles of like nature and like giant geological rock formation. So I'm like, I feel like he'd just be perfect there.
Yeah, it would be perfect there. Yeah, so that was a good time. Trying to think. They did an encore. So sometimes the artists do encores. It ended around like 11:15. We left just like a couple minutes early because we just didn't want to deal with traffic, which I'm always happy to do that, to not deal with traffic. And that was my first Red Rocks experience. Not too bad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
No.
Do you have any questions about Red Rocks?
No, not in particular. No, I mean, like I said, I'm supposed to go. Actually, I'm not going anymore. I'm supposed to go for Millennium Red Rocks 2 days in a row, and I, like a dummy, double booked myself, and I like told my entire family like months before I even bought the Millennium tickets that they could come that weekend, and I forgot because I didn't write it down. And then we were talking about like, actually we weren't even talking about it. I like woke up in the morning. It was like 6 a.m. going to work. And I woke up and I was like, I can't go to Red Rock. It was like this random thought that just came to me. And I was like, what? And I got to work and I was like checking my calendars and I was like, I can't go. Like I double booked myself. And so I had to sell all my tickets. I have to sell the tickets. So we'll figure that out. Hopefully I don't need them, but
I'm sure you'll be able to sell it.
It's their face value, what I paid for, just trying to get rid of them.
I also heard once you start getting into like September and October for Red Rocks, like just be prepared for like cold weather potentially and just like random snow potentially going in. I
was hoping I could.
You never know.
In a parka.
Yeah. Parka?
I said burka for some reason. I know that's the thing, but that's not what I meant. Yeah, I meant parka. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, it froze on my end. So I was like, did she leave?
Oh, you're still good.
Okay. I was like, what happened? So sorry everybody for
Zoom.
Hear that. But no, I don't have any questions. I think I'm excited for myself to go to Red Rocks. I think it's going to be super fun. And just again, like what you were saying about the where you are and you get to see the view, you get to see the stars, like that alone just makes it that much more magical, and that's why it's one of the best venues in the US.
Yeah.
So highly recommend everyone to go. Hopefully a story of you going, of her going, makes you want to go, and now you've got a better idea of what to do. Obviously get there early, right? Get there early and don't have to do that big hike.
Yeah. And also what I really liked is that the artists can bring their own productions, like whatever they want. Like they basically get to have their own production and stuff. So I think for any tour, like it's really cool that you get to see that. And yeah, go early. Don't drink as much, especially if you're not from Colorado. Go easy. Someone replied, I have a vlog on my channel about it too. So if you guys want to see like the whole experience and how that was, you can go check it out on my YouTube channel. But yeah, someone responded to my DMs because someone asked me about like, what about the altitude? And I was talking about like, be careful with alcohol. And someone responded like, unless you go to Arizona State or you graduated from Arizona State, I'm like, no, like even then it's like, risky.
I did though.
Yeah, I did though. And it messed me up.
That's too funny. Yeah. Well, sweet. Anything else?
Yeah, definitely go to Red Rocks.
Oh yeah, gotta go. I'll make it there one day. I'm just gonna move out there. That's what's gonna happen. So we'll figure it out.
Manifest it. But yeah, Babs and I will be going to some festivals for Labor Day weekend. This is going to be coming out after that. So stay tuned, you guys. Babs is going to Electric Zoo. I'm going to Arc Music Festival. So we have some fun stories coming up. And if you guys are doing anything or did anything for Labor Day or have any upcoming festivals, be sure to submit your stories to us or any questions you guys have. Rate, reviews, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks for listening today. Bye.